Welcome to your masterclass in the Akashic Records. I am so excited for you to join me for this experience. We are going to have so much fun playing in this space, learning how to open the records, how to start receiving messages, and what this even does for you. How does it change your life? What is it that the records do? How do they operate? To really change our day-to-day, to change how we feel about ourselves, to change our physical health, to change our emotional health. This is the space that absolutely changed my life after I became acclimated and attuned to it and learned how it really expressed through me. It changed my health enormously. It changed completely, destroyed my anxiety, which was not expected and so exciting, skyrocketed my confidence, increased my levels of energy, helped my clarity and my ability to be really decisive and bold in how I express myself and in my opinions and decisions and things like that. And the list goes on and on. And I just can't wait to introduce you to this space. I will talk about it to anyone who will listen, because it's been that profoundly life transforming for me and for my clients and for my loved ones. So without further ado, let's dive in. For those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Laura Mazzata. I'm a spiritual empowerment coach and a therapist of 20 years. I started getting into this work after I had sepsis about 6 years ago. And I was only getting so far in my healing with the traditional medical system. So I started looking into alternatives, and I started working with Reiki and really, really love that. I'm also a Reiki master teacher. And I was receiving some benefit and then started to dip my toe into other modalities like the emotion code, which I loved and helped me a lot. The Akashic Records was the one modality that really blew me away. That was the one that really struck a chord in me in a way that just felt like home, that felt right. And whenever I would open the Akashic Records, I would feel absolutely no symptoms. And then when I would close the records, I would feel seriously energized. And I didn't really understand quite yet how to use this space, how to bring through information and everything that I could do with it, until I dove in more and really cultivated my relationship with my guides, with angels, with loved ones, and just with the energy in this space. So it can take some time. So don't be hard on yourself if it's something that you don't get immediately. It took me a few months. And particularly if you are operating at a very low vibration, like if you're really physically ill, which I was when I started, or if you've been struggling with mental illness for a while, it can take a little bit more time. So be patient, just be consistent with exposing yourself to this energy, because it's almost like your body's a tuning fork and you are attuning yourself gradually, little by little, to this energy. And we all acclimate at different levels. And the reason is because we don't want our human to break down in this process, right? We want to be gentle. We want to be compassionate and slow and follow the pace of our nervous system and what feels really, really good for us. And that's different for each person. So try not to judge it. I know that can be hard because we want to master the skills that we dive into, but I promise you, you will if you're consistent with this space. So once I got to the point where I was able to really witness and feel into the level of change that you can experience in the Akashic Records, I just couldn't keep my mouth shut. That was the time that I closed my traditional therapy practice of 20 years, because although I absolutely love what I do, loved my clients so much, and was very, very effective in my practice, I just found that I wasn't being fully authentic towards the end, because everything that came forward in terms of what I wanted to offer people was energetic and spiritual in nature. And I didn't believe so much anymore in the diagnostic process, in the fact that something is wrong with us, that we're somehow flawed and we need to fix it, right? And so I dove in to really sharing this with the world and screaming it from the rooftops to anyone who would listen to the Akashic Records and what they are and how they can change your life. Because I know that this space has every single answer that you would ever need. It has every healing capacity and ability that you would ever need. It has the ability to assist you and guide you in expanding to exactly where you're meant to be in this lifetime. And what's beautiful is that everything that comes forward in this space is what you're ready to integrate at the time. So you're not going to get anything that you're not ready for. This is something that you're going to be able to digest little by little at your own pace. And it just feels so loving. Even when they're bold with us in the Akashic Records, it feels so loving, and our best intentions are always at the forefront. So let's dive into talking about what the Akashic Records are and how you can begin to access them. So I liken the Akashic Records to a spiritual library in the clouds. So if you picture up in the clouds, this giant library with an infinite number of books, and the librarian, the assistants to the librarian are all angels, guides, loved ones, ascended masters like Jesus, Buddha. And that's why this space is so safe. I know that this is the safest place to do healing work, because you're not just floating out there in the universe and like, where am I going? And what's going to just pop up in my field, right? This is being guided. So your hand is being held the whole time you're in this space. And this is exactly why you're not going to go faster than you need to, and why you're only going to be receiving what you're ready to integrate at the time. So once we open up your Akashic record, it's like we're taking the book of you off of one of these shelves in this spiritual library, opening it up, and it has all the information about your soul from the time it first sparked through past lives, current life, and future lives. And if you don't believe in past lives, that's okay. You don't have to. But this is like Google for the soul. We have the opportunity to ask any question we want about our lives, about our past lives, about our future, about our relationships, our health, our wealth, our business, how we go about our day-to-day experience. We can ask any of that in the space of the Akashic Records and get the most aligned answers. The more specific you are when you ask questions in the Akashic Records, the more accurate the information is going to be coming through, the more potent it's going to be, and the more clarity you're going to have about exactly what you are meant to be doing in terms of next steps. Okay. But you get to choose what you integrate and what you don't. I always say, you know, we ask for this guidance, but we're still in the driver's seat in terms of what we implement and what we don't implement. So I know that those clients who come to me and literally implement every single thing that the Akashic Records bring forward, they skyrocket and up level and expand very, very quickly. But I have to admit, I have not been one of those people over the course of time. I kind of take pieces and I implement it little by little. Sometimes I do a bigger leap, but my nervous system and my pace prefers to go slower. So you don't have to want the immediate expansion. So don't be hard on yourself. If you're somebody who prefers a slower pace, just work with it. Remember that this is a relationship and it's going to continue to develop over time. And you may decide to go faster in your expansion later on in your journey. Wherever you are right now is just right. So let's appreciate and accept that and be kind to yourself and patient with yourself in this process. Okay. So we open up this book of you. You can ask any questions you want. The other thing you can do is just chill in this space. In fact, that's what I recommend at the beginning. When you're first starting to work with the Akashic Records, jump into the Akashic Records, which I'll show you how to do in a minute, and just allow yourself to receive. Just receive the healing, loving, high vibrational energy, because just being in this space is going to assist you with healing. You're automatically healing just being in this space. You're automatically attuning to this vibration. And sometimes we just need to do that for a number of days, weeks, or months. In fact, when you first open the records for the first time ever, I encourage you to wait 2 to 3 days, ideally 72 hours, to see how you feel. How does this impact your field? What does it make you feel like? Because some people feel really energized in the records, and sometimes it really calms people down. Like for me, it gives me an enormous amount of energy. So opening my records at night is not my best choice, because I will be up all night long with intuitive downloads, which is fun sometimes. It's really great and dynamic, but it can also break the human a little bit and make me not feel so hot. So it's good for you to identify, how does this energy impact me? How does it affect me? Okay. And the other thing you can do when you first enter this space is just write, just automatic write. That's what I did at the beginning for months, actually. I would open up the records, I would just take out my pen and paper, and I would just let it flow. I wouldn't think, I wouldn't analyze, I wouldn't think about my grammar or how everything made sense or if sentences ran together. I just wrote. And I would always get to this point that was massively profound, nothing that I would have been able to extract from just my mind if I sat down and had a thinking session with myself, right? So deep, profound wisdom that just came out of nowhere that I was like, wow, holy cannoli, where did this come from, right? So that's another beautiful way to start working with bringing through information from the Akashic Records. And when you enter this space, everybody's going to have different angels, guides, loved ones, etc., that are present there and wanting to be part of this moment on your journey. You're going to have guides that follow you from birth all the way through to when you leave this lifetime. And you're going to have guides that kind of come and go throughout your life journey, depending on what you're going through at the time. So it's definitely cool to kind of see who's there. And you may not know exactly who it is. You may just feel an energy. You may not feel anything at first, but know that they are there with you, that they are guiding you, they are holding you, and they are communicating with you. But in the space of the Akashic Records, they don't communicate through traditional language that we have here on Earth. Humans created language to help understand our world and how we can communicate with each other and navigate this lifetime. But that is not how the records communicate. The records communicate through vibration and through symbolism. So vibration is going to be any kinds of sensations that you're going to feel. These could be physical sensations in your body. It could be emotions that are coming forward. It could be that you just sense something around you. So they can communicate through that. They can also communicate through symbolism, which is through literally symbols, also through images or pictures, through music, through sounds, or through color. In fact, at the beginning of working with any kind of intuitive downloads, color is one of the most common ways that people start bringing through information or start seeing something in the space of the Akashic Records. So I want you to know that anything that comes forward in this space is relevant. I always use this example that, for instance, if I were just playing with my dog earlier in the day, and my dog was hanging out with me outside in the grass, and then I go into the Akashic Records later and they show me this visual, this image, this scene of me playing and hanging out with my dog in the grass, I could easily just dismiss that and say, okay, well, that's like irrelevant. That's just my mind jumping in because I just did that earlier today. Like, that's just a memory, right? That would be dismissive of a message that is trying to come through from the records. The records uses imagery and memories and experiences that we've had here on Earth to help us understand and start to get hooked on whatever they want to bring through. So if they bring through this image of me playing with my dog and I follow it, I think, okay, where are you trying to lead me with this? Like, you get curious with everything that comes up, because everything that comes forward when you're in the records is relevant, every single thing. And so if I kind of watch this and I sit back and I say, okay, I'm just going to see how this unfolds. Where are they taking me here? I'm always going to end up in a space that is not exactly how that experience unfolded in my actual life earlier that day, but where they desire to take me. So they may end up taking me down to a creek, like hanging out with a turtle and having a conversation. The turtle gives me wisdom. Like, you never, ever know where they're going to take you, how silly it is, how ridiculous it is. The universe has a sense of humor. Allow yourself to flow with it, because they're going to communicate with you in the way that you are going to understand it. And people are going to be drawn to me to work with me in ways that, or because they understand how I communicate, right? Like, somebody's not going to come to me if the way that I bring through information in the Akashic Records is not going to be understandable to them. So the records are going to bring me examples that are going to get my mind engaged or get my heart engaged, so that I start thinking, that's curious, interesting. Now I'm hooked, and I'm going to continue watching and allowing you to guide me on this journey to take me to the core message that you're trying to show me. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we are going to enter the Akashic Records, and then I'm going to guide you through that process. You are welcome to open them with me. I encourage you to, and you're welcome to either just receive the ritual that I'm taking you through, or to actually do it with me. It is going to be more profound when you actually do this, but it may take you several iterations, and that's fine. You can come back to this video as many times as you need to be able to be guided into the records. You can also find that you'll receive things differently when somebody guides you in versus when you go in for yourself. Because I find that sometimes I just love having a mentor of mine take me into the records, because then I just get to relax and just receive and allow myself to just completely let go. And I find that sometimes I can go a little deeper. So when I want to really get to the core depth of something and I'm not fully getting there, then I will have a mentor take me in, or one of my colleagues, or even one of my students from my Akashic programs that have learned how to open the Akashic records. And what's so cool and so fun about this space is that as you get to know it, and you start to feel like, okay, now I know what it feels like to be in the records. Like I get a little tingling sensation, or I feel a little spacey, or all of a sudden my chest starts to feel a little bit expanded, or whatever feeling you get that you know that you're in the records. Once you've nailed that down, figure out your own way to open them. I just did a master class about a week ago on taking people into the records in a whole new way. And it was absolutely mind-blowing and phenomenal. And that's what's cool about this place. The more people that enter the Akashic records, the more we get to learn about the infinite, because they work with each of us very, very differently. You're not going to read the Akashic records the exact same way that I do, or the exact same way that your neighbor does. So the more people that we get to engage with this frequency and with these guides and with this space, the more we get to learn about what's accessible to us, because this space is limitless. It's infinite. We're always learning new things. We're always gathering more data, upgrades, downloads that assist us with becoming better humans and maximizing our time here on Earth. Okay. So when we open the Akashic records, I guide you through a meditation to begin. And when I take you through this meditation, this is with the intention to balance your energy so that it's a little bit gentler on your human once you enter this high frequency space. The Akashic records exist at a very, very high frequency. And so sometimes it can feel a little bit like, whew, it's a shock to the system when we enter this space and we haven't really been exposed to this frequency before. And that's why when you first enter your records, don't go in for super long. Maybe go in for 5 minutes, then go in for 10 minutes, then go in for 15, and gradually expose yourself to this energy. Then what I do after I run the meditation is I open our Akashic records with 5 sacred ohms. And the ohms are something that you can repeat after me. And then the 5th ohm is something that I want you to think about before we jump in. That is stating your name that you'd like to use to enter the Akashic records. So I want you to use the name that feels the most like you. So you could use your first name, your first and last, your first and middle, your first, middle, and last. Some people even add in their nickname or their confirmation name. I have people who have had a string of like 10 to 12 names because that feels the most like them. So whatever feels the most like you is what you could start with. You can also switch names. You can enter it with, I can enter it with Laura Mazzata. I can enter it with Laura Knapp, which is my maiden name, or Laura Knapp Mazzata, and see what the different energies feel like, what feels the best to you. You get to play with it, okay? Make it your own. There are no rules here, okay? So let's get started with diving into opening your Akashic records. This is so fun. Just take a deep breath, place your feet on the floor, close your eyes, and take a nice deep breath in. Allow yourself to release anything that happened before this recording, anything that's going on at the time, and anything you have to do later. Just take this moment for you. Take a nice deep breath in all the way to the base of your spine. And allow a nice audible sigh in your exhale. That signals to the subconscious mind that we're letting go. Continue to breathe slowly and deeply. Take another deep breath into your heart space and pause. Now breathe in a little bit more to fill to your fullest capacity. And release slowly. One more deep breath in all the way to the top of your head. And allow a very slow exhale. Continue to breathe slowly and deeply, allowing your breath to extend down past your feet, past the crust of the earth, into the moist soil of Mother Earth. Allow your breath to enter the root system, where you can gather all of the nutrients and nourishment and unique medicine meant just for you in this moment. Allow your life force energy to carry this down into the crystalline caves of Mother Earth, where there's a light, cool, refreshing energy. In this beautiful space surrounded by gorgeous crystalline structures, this is the space that amplifies and magnifies the impact of the nutrients you just picked up in the root system. Allow all of this to be activated as you inhale this healing nourishment into each of your cells, every organ, every system of the body, and every energy center. Allow your exhale to extend down past the crystalline caves into the sacred waters of Mother Earth, where here you find a warm, translucent, sparkling pond of water, holding you and comforting you. You allow yourself to feel so buoyant and light as you float in this water, allowing it to lap over you as it washes away any debris or scattered energy from your field, carrying it down into the core center of Mother Earth, where there's a liquid, hot, magenta energy there just waiting to be shared. And this energy transforms and transmutes all of that debris and scattered energy into the most beautiful crystalline structure. And this crystalline structure is the perfect match for your vibration in this moment. Witness it as it turns into a warm steam, rising up to coat your physical body in warmth, as if you're being covered in a warm blanket. Allow this warmth to sink in through your skin, settling into your heart space. And it's from here that we will send a crystalline tube of white light from our heart space, beyond the top of our head, past the space in which we're sitting, beyond the earth, past the moon, the stars, the galaxy, entering into a space in the Akash. And as we anchor this tube firmly in the Akash, we allow ourselves to travel up and just peek over the edge. And as we do, we get a sense of the infinite, boundless, limitless space that exists here, extending much further than the eye can see. We allow ourselves to be welcomed by all of our guides, angels, and ascended masters as we receive this beautiful, loving, inspiring energy. And on our inhale, we bring it back down the tube into our heart space, allowing this high vibration energy to mix with that warm Mother Earth energy to find a nice harmony. And once this energy settles, allow it to distribute through the tips of your toes and the tips of your fingers and the top of your head. And it's from this space that we will sound the 5 sacred ohms to open up our Akashic records. You can repeat after me or just receive. With this ohm, I relax my body. Om. With this Om, I relax my mind. Om. Om. With this Om, I release my ego and all judgment in this space. Om. With this Om, I call on the light, all healing and knowledge. Om. With this Om, I open up the Akashic Records of, and you can fill in your name here. Laura Nat Mazada. Om. The records are now open. Just keep your eyes closed and your breath moving, allowing yourself to adjust to this high frequency space, and inviting in all of your guides, loved ones, angels, and ascended masters to assemble around us. And just take a moment to identify anything that might be coming into your awareness. This could be an emotion, a physical sensation, just a clear knowing. You could hear something or taste something. And you can also take this moment to write down anything that's coming into your field. And just feel into the energy, what it's like to be here. You may not feel anything right away, and that's okay. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So just tune in with how you're feeling. Jot down a couple notes if you need to. And know that while we're in this space, there's nothing that has to be done. Like I said, we can just receive and feel into this. And if you notice your mind getting in the way, remember that this is actually the best place to release blocks, the best place to shift and transform and rewrite limiting beliefs and old stories. So allow this to become a relationship. Some people actually prefer to identify a particular guide or angel or ascended master or loved one who's passed that they are more familiar with in human form or have at least started a relationship with. This could even be Jesus Christ. A lot of people from the Christian tradition will do that. And when you start to create that relationship, you start to understand how the communication goes back and forth in this space. That it's just like meeting somebody new on the street. Like you're going to get to know how they speak to you, how your energy interacts, how you communicate with each other. And the relationship develops over time. That's the same thing that happens here. It can be instant, just like it is in human form, right? Sometimes we just have those immediate connections with someone, but that's not as often the case. So it just takes time to cultivate this relationship. So allow yourself to do that, okay? And sometimes when we connect with this one being, it can be a really nice gateway into opening up more beings communicating with us, because now we're accustomed to it. Now we're like, okay, I know how to communicate with this being. I feel comfortable with this relationship, and I'm starting to receive more and more messages of greater depth. So in this space, you can use a lot of things to release blocks and to clear your mind. You can jump in here and do tapping. That's one of my favorite modalities. In fact, I have an EFT tapping playlist on my YouTube channel, so you can check that out too, and just open the records and jump over there and do a tapping to start to clear things or anxiety that might be in the way, right? You can use sound tools. You can pull oracle cards if you have oracle cards that you want to pull to assist you with bringing through messages. You can also use crystals. Crystals are very high vibrational components of Mother Earth that we can really allow to assist us with making it easier to acclimate to this kind of vibration. Okay, there's so many different ways to use this space, so many different healing modalities. And this space is really for two types of people. It's either for that I mean, I personally think it can impact everyone, and it can impact everyone, but not everyone's open to it. So this space really does desire your intention and your interest in developing a deeper relationship with it. So what I encourage is for those of you who are either a spiritual entrepreneur, and so you have already, or you're an intuitive or a healer, however you identify yourself, you already have some intuitive abilities. This place will absolutely skyrocket and put whatever modality you're using on steroids. Everyone I know, including myself, that has mixed modalities within this space has been like the top is just blown off of their intuition and blown off of the level of depth and impact that they can have on their clients, on the world, and on themselves and their own healing. Okay, so it's a really beautiful place to amplify and empower what you already have going on for you. Okay. You can also open the Akashic records of your business, and you can literally have a spiritual team that guides you and assists you in different aspects of your business. So it's very, very supportive. As like, I don't make any decisions in my business. They all come from the Akashic records. It dictates my pricing. They dictate my programs, the people who come into my programs, everything that goes on behind the scenes. And that's why sometimes I'm surprised about what it is I'm offering at times, because I allow myself to be guided and I don't get stuck in a rigid agenda in my mind. Okay. This is also for somebody who is just done with the patterns, done with the cycles. I've tried this, I've tried that. I've gone to therapy for years. I haven't gotten as far as I'd like to be. This is a perfect place for you to not only learn how to heal yourself, but to be able to provide the same service to other people, even if it's just loved ones in your family. Because that's how our own healing ripples out and affects those around us. It's never just for us. Showing up to this space is always an act of service. You can download for your healing specific protocols from the Akashic records, specifically for something that's going on for you, either a symptom that's happening or a pattern that's gone on in your life that you just can't seem to kick, and you're just so frustrated and you're sick of it and you're ready to be done with it. I'm telling you, this is the space to have sustainable healing, to internalize this. It's not a Band-Aid approach. And most things, no matter how well-meaning humans are, most things that we create as human beings are not sustainable. They cannot have that longevity because they're not infinite. They're not from divine intelligence. The fact is, no matter how smart we are not divine intelligence, but we all have the ability to be a vessel to bring this information through us, to channel divine intelligence and to access that divine within and to maximize it, to really merge our divine selves with our human selves. And that's what the Akashic records do. I went into this for physical healing and I received that. And I also received so much more. The confidence, the emotional healing, the connection, the intimacy, the expansion, the empowerment. The list continues and continues. So I invite you to spend more time in this space. Start to feel what it feels like to play. You can use your pendulum to ask yes or no questions if you want, or muscle testing if that's something that you've played with before. You can just hang out here. You can meditate here, bring in other modalities. Just start to experiment, jot down some notes and see what feels good to you. I also have an ebook called Mastering Your Intuition that has over 57 tools for you to play in this space, for you to really be able to map out specifically which tools, in which order, in which combination are the most potent for you, because they're going to be different for you than they are for me. Everybody's roadmap is going to look different. Okay, so that's another tool that you can use to really expand your use of this space. So again, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for joining me for this experience. We are going to close the Akashic records now with one final Om. Again, this is something that you can receive or join in with me, and it's going to be more powerful when you join in with me. We're simply going to close our eyes and take a deep breath in. You can place your hand in prayer pose at your heart if you desire, but it's not required. Just appreciate this moment that you've given to yourself and the space that you've opened to receive this information and this vibration and the healing you've already received just by being in this space for this short period of time. We acknowledge the frequency of oneness, knowing that as we shift and show up into this space, it's not just for us. This extends beyond us, and we are truly doing an act of service by taking responsibility for ourselves, for our own healing, and for our connections with others on this planet. We offer appreciation and gratitude to all of the loved ones, guides, and ascended masters in this space, the energy that we have access to, and the expansion that we've experienced. And it's with this final Om that we will close the Akashic Records. Om. The records are now closed. You can open your eyes whenever you're ready. Make sure that you drink a lot of water, that you ground by just going outside, sitting on the ground, putting your feet on the ground, or having a snack. You can also rest if you need to rest. Listen to your body. Allow your energy to adjust as it dictates to this energy, and reach out if you have any questions. Bye for now.